Welcome to the Cookbook, where we invite guests on to share the ingredients of what has helped make them the successes that they are. All of it, the good, the not so good. You're not going to find anything half-baked here. And our kitchen gets messy sometimes. That's when the fun starts. So come on and join us. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Cookbook. I'm your host, Iris Goldfeder, and I'm super excited about our guest today, Christina Bernhard. We've spoken a couple of times, and she's really awesome, and I love her business, and I'm going to let her tell you all about that. But before we start, I'm getting better at this. Like, share, subscribe. At the end of the episode, download, leave a review, leave, if you've gotten a golden nugget from here, leave that in the comments. Do all of that. So without further ado, let's meet Christine. Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for coming. I know there's always, it's so funny because there's always like scheduling issues, with so many people with me. Like I've had people that have scheduled and I'm like, oh, I have to cancel. Sometimes I cancel like last minute, which is really, really bad. And I try not to do that, but it is so good to have you on here.
Yeah, I was the canceller last time. I did not feel well, but I'm feeling a lot better today. So
we don't want you on here not feeling well, because then you're not at your best, right? So
exactly. Exactly.
I'm a little more scratchy and lower today. So because I woke up with, I don't know, I thought I had COVID. I don't, but I was all.
Yay for that news.
Yeah, I know. It's like, nobody wants that, especially now with who knows what the hell is. That's another story. We're not going to go there.
No.
Went there a couple of weeks ago with another guest, and I was like, okay, we can stop because it's a rabbit hole, right?
Right. To off the recording.
I know. So I don't, talk about your bio. I let you do that, but I know that you own 311 Advertising.
Yes.
And I was wondering, where did that name come from?
That was actually the moment that my daughter was born.
Oh.
So it was the time of it. Yeah.
Okay. That's probably one of the best stories that we've had yet. So that's awesome.
Amazing. Yeah. It's also really hard to come up with an agency name because they're all taken. So you have to be really creative. I
mean, you're not wrong. Like Gas Stove Creative, everyone's like, how? And that's like, I'm not going to tell it because, I think I told you. If not, I'll tell you after. But I knew nobody was going to have that. So.
Yes. Right. Yeah. You have to be very creative.
Yes. 100%. So, so tell us about you, how, who are you, your life, how did you get started? All the good stuff.
Yeah. So my background started as a marketing director for a law firm. And so I felt like that wasn't exactly for me to, for one, work for other people is not like, I really like to build things and start from scratch. And when I was there, I did build a department and we did a really great job. And then I started my business on the side and then eventually left the firm. And so I've had the agency ever since then. That was I started in 2019. I left the firm in 2020. Before everything went crazy, actually, it was January 2020. I had no idea what was about to happen next. It was, it's really crazy when you're trying to plan things, obviously, but all worked out. And so we have 311 Advertising. We focus on Meta ads and Google ads. We have clients from like online business, personal brands to local businesses as well. Over the years, we've done some things where we've worked on some funnel building or, things like that. But we've always kind of come back to our main focus, which is the paid advertising. And that has changed so much so I started that paid like Meta ads and Google ads in 2014. And so much has changed. But I would say that's and I think it started in 2012 too. So like we were there like right at the start of it and it's so different, but it's actually changed probably more in the last 5 years than that full 11 years. So it's changing very rapidly. for the better in some ways, I think overall, but and so that's where we are at now.
Wow. And it's funny you say that it changed in the last 5 years. I feel like it changes every month now with AI.
Oh yeah.
With AI, it's like, we do SEO, and which is like, it's not even SEO anymore. Okay. SEO is not dead. It's changed. I just want to throw that out there.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Please throw that out there.
Oh my God. Because everybody's like, SEO is dead. It's like, no, it's changed. Like everything else is changing. You have to tailor it for AI. It's got to be conversational. It's not just keywords. Yes, it's keywords, but it's also key phrasing. And then how does the conversation go? And what worked in June, May doesn't work now. So it's like we have a meeting every Thursday. And I test my team because like, I know not everything, but I mean, I know pretty much what's going on. And I'm like, okay, so what's new this week?
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, here's what's new. And then I'm like, wait, why the hell am I doing that? You tell me what, like, you need to know what's new, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And my wife was like, you kind of have that backward. I was like, you're not wrong. I don't, So last week in our meeting, I said, so what's changed? And they were like, they kind of looked at me and I was like, you don't know? And they were like, well, yeah, we know, but we were waiting for you. And I'm like, no, don't wait for me. This is how we're going to start it. So our next meeting, because we have it every Thursday, is tomorrow. So I want to see how prepared they are.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like
nice little test for.
But I mean, it had, so I signed somebody today, and first off, they didn't even know, like they kind of had an idea on what SEO was, but not 100%, sure. And I said, it's not what you heard that it was. It's, yes, you need your Google business profile. Yes, you need, these things, but you need to talk. It's like, and I showed them, I opened up my chat and they were like, oh, that's not Google. And I said, no, it's ChatGPT, because that's how people are searching. Yeah. But when I did the search, I said, if you notice, it still says searching the web. Chat and Claude and Gemini and Monkey and whatever the hell else is out there, right? They're not search engines. They use the search engines to find the information. Right. So it's still very relevant. But people are just searching differently because they don't want, we're lazy. We're just a lazy ass society. So if we're working in ChatGPT, my favorite example is, I don't know, it was like a couple of months ago, I was working and I was really in the mood for like a cheeseburger, but with like bacon, Swiss and mushrooms. And so I literally, like, I named my
so specific.
Yeah, I know, right? Because it's my New York palate. But so I was working in my chat and I named her Cara. So I have Cara, and then I have Cara 2.0, and Cara 2.0 is my marketing chat where I bounce all my marketing ideas. It's like, hey, what do you think about this? And it'll be like, well, that's kind of a good idea. What about this? And I'm like, oh, I love that. But anyway, so I was in it and I'm like, man, I'm really in the mood for, a mushroom Swiss burger, with bacon. Who has the best one in Lafayette? And it came up. And the best one came up, DT Kirby's. I will plug you. I know you don't listen, but anyway. But they really do have like the best, burger like that. And I was like, duh. But that's how we do it now. It's like, we're in the middle of doing something. We don't want to stop. And people, the people that know, and the people that don't. And they have like no clue.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
So how do you work with
you're like in it or not?
Yeah.
On the ad side. Yeah. So with ads, I mean, a lot of our accounts over the years have gotten bigger. So that's actually gotten a little bit easier because most of the time we're taking over an account from another agency. So people are a little bit more like aware of the process and things like that, in what to expect. But we did used to run into that a lot, especially when I first started out too. A lot of people thinking that ads were like this magical thing. Like, I'm not making any sales, so I want to run ads, and it just doesn't work that way. So it's basically amplifying what's working or not working. You're just amplifying things. And there is a way to amplify profitably and there's a way to not. So it does take strategy and intention and making sure the messaging is dialed in at the right time of the funnel. And all of these pieces are important. But it's not by any means it's not going to replace a broken sales system for sure. So that was a lot of the education that I had to work through with those type of clients who just had never done it before, are new to that just concept of ads. And that's probably the most common thing is just thinking that if I run ads to this offer that's not selling, that it's going to sell then. And I mean, higher volume, after how much money, right? So it's not really the most profitable approach. So you want to, of course, have an offer that's selling, a sales process that is converting properly, then amplify that. Otherwise, you will run out of money pretty quickly when you're going through that process of trying to get that sales process and an offer dialed in. Because the offer is obviously a really huge weight, and ads cannot change your offer like only you can.
Right. And I was trying to, so I had a proposal for somebody and I lost it, and I know why I lost it. I'll tell you why offline. But they were doing ads, but they weren't really doing SEO. And, I said, ads is good, if, as long as you have the right offer, if you do want it to happen quickly, and SEO is the long game that builds, things so that they happen organically. But, you really want to work them both together. Because eventually, right? Because if you don't do, and I try to explain to people, it's if you don't do SEO, AEO, GEO, whatever, you want to call it this month, because it's probably going to be different next month. But, if you don't do it, then you're not building a foundation, right? The ads happen and you do them, but they don't stay. As soon as you stop, they stop, right? As soon as you stop paying, they go away. With SEO, it's the long game. And the more you do it,
more evergreen.
100%. And so that works great when I can explain it to people, but they had been doing ads and they're like, well, the ads aren't working. And then they showed me and I was like, this is why. You're expecting it to do magic and they don't do magic. You have to have something that, like you just said, that you're already offering, and then you can amplify it. But, people think that we're like magicians and we can make things happen like that. And I wish,
Yeah, I don't think people realize how hard it actually is to just, honestly sell anything. It's not that easy, especially in the online space. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of, the barrier to entry for other people who are competitors is quite low when you have social media and, just anything online. So I think people, they underestimate how hard it is, and they're just searching for someone to make it easier. And it's just, there is no magic bullet or something that you can just turn on. It sounds so amazing, but it's just not reality. The journey is the journey, and the only way through is through.
Yeah, 100%. Right. And I try to explain to people, and I think that they get frustrated because they expect it. Well, if you can't make it happen now, then why bother? And it's everything takes time. You can't,
especially if it's worth doing.
Right. You can't run a Google ad or a Meta ad or, even a LinkedIn ad, right? You can't run anything and expect to have a sale the next day. If anybody out there does, let me know. Or
send them our way.
If they say they do, then they're full of shit. Unless you can send it my way so that we can vet it, right?
Yeah.
Because we want to vet it.
Right. Or their tracking is not proper, and that sale actually came from something that was already happening.
Yes. And then how do you explain that, right? Because then they're like, well, this came from here. And it's no, it really didn't. And, you can show people metrics and they're still like, no. And I'm like, we do a monthly report and we show how many calls, right, came from Google. And I had one client that was like, my phone never rang. I'm like, it had to, because Google's not just going to go, yes, you had this many calls. Now, whether you answered
Yeah.
it, whether it went through or not, but people did try to call. And we ended up losing that client because she just didn't believe it, and I'm like, okay. And what I'm finding is, which is kind of cracking me up, we lose a client and then we get like 2 to take their place. It's been crazy. And it's almost like, this is not the right person for you. So, clean that out. And then the next person comes, which never happened before. So thank you. Universe, God, whoever. Whatever is up there. And, so when you, when you explain to somebody about, the process, how do you explain it to where they actually, to where it clicks? Because, I've worked with ad companies and I've seen them try to explain stuff and I get confused. I'm like, so how do you, because we try to explain things as simply as possible so that it's, people can consume it a lot easier. How do you make that happen?
Yeah. So, it would be custom to that client. And so what we like to do is because we're very, everything's about the data. So we have the specific KPIs all laid out and we come up with specific milestones. So we'll take those KPIs and we have goals for all of them. But what we want to do is prioritize which KPIs matter today. And that all depends on where those metrics lie right now. What kind of baseline do we need to get a baseline? Like, is there something that's not being measured that we need here to fill in this story? So we kind of take that approach of having these are the KPIs that we're focused on. This is the goal, and this is the order of the KPIs that we're going to phase out, in different phases. So we'll have phase 1, 2, 3 of what our goals are going to be. And that way they can measurably see progress. So if their goal is to make $1 gazillion in 6 months or whatever, we would have these goals. Yeah. We would have these goals laid out in those specific, which KPIs are going to help us get there. So, and that's all part of the sales process, KPIs, those more granular ones. It's going to be, acquisition costs based on what they're spending, because sometimes I don't see this as much anymore, but I used to see a lot of clients be like, well, I want to make this much from the ads, but I only want to spend $1,000. And the math just doesn't math. And so that's where we have to have a spreadsheet to just display these things. And that way they can see a clear picture. So we usually just paint it with numbers. And I try to make it simple. The way that I make it simple is that I take all those KPIs and we just pull out 2 or 3. These are the ones that we're focusing on in phase 1. We need them to hit here and here and here so that we can start making progress to this other goal. And if this is your spend, this is a more realistic time frame, depending on where we can hit these first milestone goals. So I kind of just break it down into these phases and this journey so that they can clearly see. And as we're moving towards it, they can see these milestones getting hit. So even if we're not at their main big goal yet, they can see that we are making progress there and that the math aligns, that this is actually going to move the needle to get there.
Yeah. And I mean, the math has to math. People don't.
Yes.
You're right. They want to spend $1,000 and it's that's not.
Yeah, I love the ambition, but we did the Excel sheet.
I had, and it's not even, yes, it's however much you're spending in ads, but then it's also paying for the strategy. It's paying for the, for the whole, process. It's not just, it's not just, XYZ company on Google and it's a paid ad. It's there's got to be something behind it.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to the execution of that between the strategy and the campaign planning and tracking, and then that's at that point you still don't even have the actual creative that needs to be created and researched and tested, and so there's a lot of people involved, a lot of different pieces that have to be done in a certain order and to a certain quality. So there's a lot more to it than just, because that's another thing too with ads is people would think, oh, ads are just building the campaign. So if I know which buttons to press, but it's so much more than that. Like that's the easy part. Anyone can do that. Right. It's just like, how do you know what to spend where, what kind of bidding strategy, how to structure things, like all of those pieces.
Yeah. So, folks, it's not magic. It doesn't just happen. There's a lot of moving parts.
I hate to bring those to that bad news.
Well, and and the thing is, like, this is what we do for a living, so we know it, right? And they don't know what they don't know. And so I always try to, so my meeting today, I was trying to, educate them on, the difference between SEO and AEO and, GEO. And even though they're all, they're all different doors into the same room. And I think his eyes were just rolling behind. He was like, so I was like, do you want to know this? And he was like, just do it. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, no, okay.
That works.
And like, but I am going to give you a monthly report. And we are going to go through the report so that you can see, what's happening. Their domain is a few months old. So it's going to take, I told him it's going to take 10 months to a year to even get on the second page, And he's like, okay. And I think people really need to understand that, it is not an overnight thing. I mean, even with ads happen faster than, let's call it AEO just for,
okay. Let's pick one.
We'll just, stick with that one. Ads do work faster because it's more targeted and
like instant reach.
Yes. And Google likes money. Let's face it, right? Google,
Yeah.
And Google,
who doesn't?
So when you have, an agency, that's doing ads, and then you have like, little old me who's doing, AEO, and they're going, yeah, well, keep going, It's like the little train that could. So
right. Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. But I mean, over time, once that, that infrastructure is built, then it's free leads.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's
right?
really nice to have all to offset that. I mean, obviously there's cost to maintaining that and, keeping that going. But it can be a lot cheaper than ads in the long run for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially because the cost of ads it's only going up. So
I thought eggs were going down. No, I know everything is going up. So
yeah,
I had to get one in.
Yeah.
But I think that, so like our rates raised, and somebody was like, well, you were this much last year. And I'm like, do you know how much more work we have to do now to make the same thing happen?
I can't even imagine, because I'm not even in that world like you are. And I cannot even.
It's insane. It is literally like, I'm not kidding. What worked in May doesn't work now. It works, but it doesn't work. It doesn't, and the phrasing of things and the algorithm, because people are doing different, like the algorithm is changing. I have never in my life seen anything like if you would have told me, when SEO like started, I'm going to go back like 18 years, it was like a few keywords and you were done for the month.
Do some black hat stuff.
Yeah, just like a little bit of, and you're done.
Keyword stuff. Yeah.
And then, 10 years ago, it was like, okay, now you have to do some meta tags and some, massaging on the back end and, blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, holy shitballs. Like, it just.
Yeah, I cannot imagine.
It's insane.
And just the amount of content, how much more content is on the web than just a year ago. Like, I cannot.
Oh, yeah.
Cannot. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when I'm in my chat, I know nothing is proprietary, but you say to it, this is proprietary. I don't want anybody to be able to search this that I'm putting into you. And it's, supposedly, although I will say that I do believe it works, because I had my wife at work go on chat and look for something that I had proprietary and it didn't show. So I felt good about that. So maybe it's working. And, it's like whatever you're putting in there that's not proprietary is new information. So people can Google anything at this point or ask, AI anything. And the information that I put in it last last week is in it now. So
Yeah,
multiply me by like how many millions of people, billions
Yeah.
of this. It's insane.
Yeah. I can't quite wrap my mind around it fully.
And so ads is, I'm sure that's going to end up with the AI issue soon. I don't want to say issue because it's not an issue. I think it's, I'm fascinated by AI. There are a lot of agencies that are threatened by it. And to me, it's like, it's a tool. Like if I forget a word, like I'm crafting an email and I have the email and I'm like, I know this isn't the right word. Can you just give me the right word? And it's like, here it is. I was like, oh, that was it, and then I don't forget it. And then I had this crazy idea that maybe it could help like people with, Alzheimer's, like if they can't remember something, drop it in and say, hey, what is this thing that I can't remember?
Like a whole agent.
Yeah. Right. I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah.
But it almost helps you remember stuff that, or it gives you the, it gives you that word that you're looking for and then you don't forget it. Cause now it's like, oh, there it is. So.
Yeah. There's so many things that it's helpful with. I even use it to keep up with trends. So I actually have a custom GPT that I make sure that it's pulling from the sources I wanted to pull from and like the time frame that I wanted to pull from and the context that I wanted to pull from for me too. So I just tell it, like, give me an update. And it'll send me to like, these are the things that everyone's talking about. These, and so that has been really, really helpful just to keep up with what's going on and the changes. Cause it's constant, with ads too, as far as like what Meta's doing, but also like with what's working and what's not working. And it's so different too, because like what works for one client doesn't work for another either. So we're having to constantly be creative and innovative there and, figure it out.
Yeah. I actually we're going to New York for a wedding. And I said, can you make me a packing list? And it just like,
oh, yes, I did the same.
I was like, this is amazing. And we're driving because I'm not getting on a plane right now. It's just like, it's New York. It's like a 14-hour drive. So we'll stay overnight somewhere and then, drive the rest of the way. But yeah, I was literally like, okay, so this is my plan. This is how far we're driving the first day. This is, we're going to be staying overnight. Then we'll get there, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, okay, so you want water for hydration. Is there any particular water that you like? Well, Gatorade came out with a new water with electrolytes. Great. So it's like this many bottles of, Gatorade, this kind of snacks. Do you eat healthy? Do you not eat healthy? It's like a trip. So now it knows that I kind of eat healthy, I'll take some junk, some good stuff. So
that balance.
It's like so incredible. So how did you what made you start the agency?
I think I was always pretty entrepreneurial. So I grew up around my father, who has a small business. He had a small construction company. He still has it, still running it today. And he started it when I was 7 when he started it. So I have, full memory of everything. And we spent and my mom was very involved as well. She has a corporate job, but she was always involved it was basically all family effort. So even whenever I got old enough, I was helping him in the office, like calling clients and, getting payments from people or organizing estimates and things like that, and organizing things in the office. And so I've just always been kind of around that, like I remember when my dad got the building and it was empty, like for his company, and how it was, he renovated it and we were there all the time and we bought a desk and got a computer, like old dinosaur computer, and how all these things came together. And so just always being around that process, I think it was just always kind of in me. And I tried all kinds of things before the agency, like when I was in college, tried these random, a t-shirt business and a candle business and all these little things. I was always trying new stuff. And so and it's crazy because I always, in college and after college, I really felt like I wanted to work for myself, but it never occurred to me to create a business in the career I was in, which makes no sense. Like, I don't know. I never thought at that time to, start an agency or do something marketing related. I actually wanted to go into marketing so that I knew how to market whatever business I wanted to start. And so that was kind of my idea whenever I was trying to find a major and stuff in college. I was like, well, if I learn how to market and sell, I can do whatever business I want. And so that was sort of the thought process, and never thought about having like a marketing related business. But then it became a lot clearer later on. And so I sort of dabbled in it, started it while I was still worked at the firm, and it went well, but I just couldn't gain real traction until I quit my job so that I could focus on it full time. And then it kind of just took off from there. So that was the journey. But I think I was always going to land here. I just had no idea how.
Wow, that's so interesting. Because if you would have told me, I don't know, 15 years ago, whatever, 18 years ago, that I would be starting my own thing, I'd be like, you're insane. Because I always felt that I needed that safety net. And then my very first business was like a consulting business, which, paid great, but it was consulting. So it was, so then I went back into working for people. And then this was almost like a necessity, because I was working for a certain cable company in their business sales part. And my boss and I did not see eye to eye. I lost. And right. And it was like, do I collect unemployment or until I, find something, or do I just do something? And then I was like, I'm not collecting unemployment. So I called around. I let all my clients know that I wasn't there anymore, which they thought they were so stupid, because, they wouldn't, other people tried selling them for, years, and they were like, no. And then I came along and they did like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 contracts. So, I called, one of my clients, and he was like, well, that's stupid. And I said, well, he goes, well, why don't we do something together? And I was like, I don't know if I really want a partner. I don't know. And I said, well, let's talk about it. And we weighed the pros and cons. And I said, if we just keep everything in my name and your partner in name only, and, we'll split everything in half. Yes. Mm-hmm. And now I don't have any partners, just so,
Nice. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Because, when you have a partner, you kind of have to run things, off of them and or through them. I really don't want to run anything through anybody. It's like, I know that, especially at my age, this stage of the game, it's like, I just want to run things the way that I want to run them. And, it's working pretty well. So I made the right decision, but.
Yeah, I definitely relate to that. I don't think that I would want a partner. Also, just to be able to move faster too. Just, if I have an idea or I'm committed to something or pivoting or something like that, I want to execute it as soon as possible.
Like now.
Like now. So, if you have to consult with someone else and, if you're not on the same page, obviously that causes some friction. But I mean, I can see the benefits in it if you have certain strengths and your partner has complementing strengths. And, I could see how that could work for people. But I do. It wouldn't be my preference.
Yeah. Yeah. And when it served its purpose, and then I had a second partnership, and I learned a bunch. And, I also learned from that I don't want partners. But what I have learned, over the last, almost 4 years now, is, sometimes you have to pivot. We were just doing, I don't know, websites, SEO, social, whatever. And then we became all in one because one of my clients needed everything, and I have experience in like media buying and television, commercial production and blah, 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 all the things. So, it was like, okay, I guess we're all in one marketing. And then somebody was like, well, it's like a one-stop shop. And I'm like, that sounds like Walmart. We're not Walmart. Right. It's like at the end of the day, yes, it's one stop, but
Mhm.
we just like that other, all in one solutions. But when that happened, it was like, I didn't have to ask anybody. I just told my wife,
Mhm.
because she works for, corporate. And I was like, hey, so we're moving to this. And she was like, cool.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Right on. That's
Mhm.
great. Um,
Yeah.
and that's the only partner I have to answer
Yeah.
to. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a game changer, especially in industry that's so fast moving. Like no matter which part of marketing you're involved
yeah,
in, you're moving very quickly. So pivoting kind of needs to happen just as quickly.
yeah. And the fact that we can, right? The fact that we know
Yeah.
how to, I've seen in the last, like year, I watched like 5 businesses not know how to pivot.
Hmm.
One of them, I was like, can we just have a conversation? They were like, really, like, it was a very ego driven thing. They're like, no, I know what
Yeah.
I'm doing. And I was like, okay. And like, they closed. And I was like,
Oh, that's the worst.
it
Yeah.
would, it
That's
would have
rough.
literally been a half-hour conversation.
Hmm.
Um, but you can't make people do stuff. And I wasn't
Yeah.
charging. Like I was just like, let me help you. Like, let me just,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Like genuinely. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's,
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it's like, I think that's the other thing too. My pricing is my pricing, but if, like I have a friend that I'm working with who's kind of struggling, I
Hmm.
can do everything at cost. Like I
Hmm.
don't need to make money
Yeah.
on that. Right.
Hmm.
And, she feels a little weird about it, but I'm like, don't. Like, I'm not, as long as I could pay the people I need to pay,
Right.
I
As
don't
long
care.
as you're not losing money. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's lots of
exactly.
value in there. Like you have an expertise that can really help someone out. Yeah. And there are, business going down isn't just like someone making less money or, having a not nicer car. Like it's pretty serious. Like it's our livelihood and
Yeah.
families are affected and, it's has a pretty big ripple effect. Like it's pretty serious.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't think, I think that when people go into business, they think, a lot of people think, oh, this is amazing. I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to be able to take off whenever I want. I'm going to
Yeah.
make $1 million in the first year. And it's like, oh, child, no.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
And for it.
Which is a good lead into, what advice do you have for somebody who's like thinking about starting a business? What would you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously for it, and I think having the expectations in place. I feel like everything takes a little bit longer than you anticipate, and that's a pretty big parallel in most things. I feel, but certainly this kind of journey, and to just be patient and also like pivot really fast, but also don't pivot drastically too soon either. Because I think a big common thing is that, once at the beginning, it's very exciting and, you can pull all nighters and stuff because you're just so excited about what you're building. It's all new. But, once it gets hard, some people want to like, maybe I should do this thing, like the shiny object syndrome. And so you really lose out if you're constantly jumping around in that time. Whereas if you just stay focused and maybe give yourself a timeline, like I'm going to do this thing for 1 year, 5 years, like whatever it is, like this is all I'm going to focus on. Whatever time frame makes sense that you're comfortable with, and really dedicate to focusing just on that one thing, and not thinking, oh, actually the money or the success is over here. I should completely pivot and start, because then you're just completely starting over every time. And it's just really dialing things in. It just takes a lot longer than you think, but it's an awesome journey. Especially if you're not trying to prove something to other people or yourself that's making you want that speed. If you can kind of just like ride it and, get to where you want to go. I've been guilty of that myself, just trying like, why am I wanting this so quickly? And it usually deep down has something to do with like proving myself to myself or, someone else or whatever. Because that will be pretty frustrating because it's going to likely take longer.
Yeah.
than
Yeah. Yeah. And it's true. I mean, when I look at it, I started this in 2014. So, and it started really picking up, I'm going to say last year, but really this year. Well, yeah, I think like last year. And then I had like not even like a lull. It was like a dead spot from like November to February. Nothing new, nothing. It was like, what the hell? Like normally I have a pipeline and,
right.
Everything went away.
What year was that? Was that
this year?
This year. Okay. Mine was the year before, but those same months were rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was just like, it went from, whoo, I don't even have to do anything. And people are, signing on with me to like, please, sir, can I have some more somewhere?
Right.
And it was, and I didn't even tell my wife because she like freaks out about money. So I was like, how in the hell what am I going to do? So I had to get creative, which I did. And then like in March, it was like everything just started coming in. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. And it's been very consistent. And the thing that I found really funny was when things started coming in, they started coming in from Google, from my website. So if you search SEO Lafayette, I come up number 1, which is like amazing, but that took a long time. So, and like the one today chose me because I was the first one that came up. It was like, you're number 1. I figured I'd go number 1. I was like,
there's your case study right there.
Right. But also next week I can be number 2. So, it's not guaranteed. Like there are no guarantees with it. And that's what I try to tell people. I forgot who I was with a client who, we got them to number 2 and then they went down to number 4 and they were really pissed off. And I went, you're on the home page. Like, I never guarantee number 1. I don't guarantee anything. I guarantee the homepage. I don't guarantee any placement on the homepage because you don't know. You can be number 1 and then next week, like, you're number 2 or number 4. And then there's new companies coming up that are doing ads as well as, SEO. So, there's things that happen. And then the next week, he was back to number 2 and he's like, I don't freaking get it. I said, that's the animal that it is.
It's very complicated. It's not so straightforward.
Yeah. And I wish that I, had some kind of a, magic formula that I could go, you are going to stay number 1 forever.
You'd be very rich.
I'd be very rich. I'd be Neil Patel, who?
I know.
Right. So,
yes.
I get a lot of my information from him because he's just, he's the guy.
He's like the OG.
Seriously. Yeah. 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 And he's got his finger, on the pulse. So, which, it's important. I have some clients that do follow the algorithm and they do follow this stuff. And they're like, hey, did you know, like I got a call last week from somebody and they were like, hey, did you know that they did blah, blah, blah? And I was like, yeah, that was last week. Did you know this week they did blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, you're like, that's old news.
Like, what?
Yeah. Last week is long gone.
That was like done.
6 days ago.
Yeah. That was so, July
6 days ago. Yeah.
So what are your goals for now, for the business? Like, where do you, do you want to like grow more? Do you want to, what do you want to do?
Yeah, definitely grow more. A big piece of that is what I've been focusing on for the last coming up on almost 2 years is really focusing on that sales system, like how you were talking about just being in the place of like, oh, this is like, people are just coming to me and like it's all kind of like ease and stars are aligning and all these things. And then when the stars like no longer align, and then it's just like, what now? And so I've experienced that and I don't want to experience it again. So a lot of what we've been focusing on is that more strategic actual sales system in place so that my goal is to be able to generate clients, with the system. And so that's been going really well, actually. And so, yeah, my goal is to that's been one of my biggest focuses. Because we do want to grow. And I feel like that's such a big piece to really figure out if we do want to. I think operationally we're really strong, and we kind of always have been. So that's been a strength of mine. So that's something that's really helped support that goal. But the missing piece is that, because it can feel like, just even when you don't have that and you have like all these like referrals coming in, or things just kind of like working, it can just feel, it's kind of this like false sense of security, because it just feels like, well, if I decide that I want clients and I can build on this momentum or whatever, that it's just going to work out, until it didn't. For me, at one point, I was like, okay, this is, like the stars don't always align. And like what actually matters at the end of the day is what you actually built to be able to create that pipeline. So that's been pretty much my main focus the last couple of years.
Yeah, I love that. And that's one of the things we're working on now, because like our pipeline is full for the next, I want to say like 6 months,
Nice.
Which is really nice. It's like,
yeah.
Okay, this is amazing. And I know that in September, like this is coming in, and I know that like, I know what's coming in. So that's like amazing.
Yeah.
And, I was going to say something. Now I forgot. Brain. About the pipeline. I can't remember. It'll come back to me, but,
yeah.
But I think it's one of those, when you have, a system in place, then, you don't have to worry as much, because you're right. It's like this false sense of security. It's like, great. Yeah. I know that, this month I sold blah, 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 but next month I got nothing. Right. And it's like, but what we did start, that's what I was going to tell you, was what we're starting, because this is going to air when? Can I tell you yet? Soon this is going to air. You are going to air. Oh, yeah, September. I could tell you. Okay. Yeah. So now, so what we've done is we've changed the way that we work with clients. So instead of, because we build websites, we were really waiting. Like I have one client right now that I'm waiting 7 months. And by the time this airs, it's like 9 months if they haven't gotten their stuff to me yet. And if they don't get it to me, like right here, if they don't get it to me in the next 2 weeks, I'm probably going to cancel it, because it's stupid. It's just like, this is ridiculous. But what we're moving to a like 4 client a month model. So we're doing 4 projects a month. We're going to fit you in this month, right? You need to have your assets to us, on this date. If you don't have everything that we need, so copy, pictures, video, whatever it is, by this date, you get pushed to the next month, because we can't, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, it causes a bottleneck.
They fill a spot that they're not actually filling.
Right.
They're just holding it.
Right. It's like a placeholder, and I can't do placeholders. So, and then we're also like, if you get it to us a week later or whatever, and you still want to fill that spot because it's going to be filled, it's going to cost more, because now I have to have, so that's what we moved to. And we moved to it because, like I said, it just got to the point that it was getting nuts. So there'd be a bottleneck, and, people are like, well, I thought my site was going to be done. And, and I'm like, well, we're waiting for stuff from other people. And we're like, we're not waiting anymore.
Yeah.
If you can't get our, the stuff to us when we need it, we're still going to stick to the schedule for everybody else, because they gave us their stuff. So
that's super important.
And what that does too is a kind of keeps it full and guarantees, right? So, to have a waiting list is amazing. And that's my goal, is probably by the end of this year, maybe by April next year, to have a waiting list, so that, just natural attrition. This is going to fall off. We have room for you.
Right.
Great. And then, so that's my goal, to just have it done like that. Because then it takes the stress off, because it was, like you said, I never want to go through that again.
Yeah, no. And I can't imagine being project-based too. So we're continuous a monthly retainer. So it's a little bit easier to like stack. And yeah, project based, I could see that happening.
But where our
sure.
SEO is monthly, so that's retainer.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Our social media is retainer.
So you have a nice mix there.
Yeah, so we have social,
Okay.
we have stuff like that. We do podcast production, so we have retainers.
Okay, nice.
But for those projects that are, the one-offs, it's like, this has to stop. Like, this has to stop. But even during that month, like we lost a couple of the retainers because they were unsure of the economy and all this other stuff. So stuff literally started disappearing. And I'm like, I never want to be in that position ever again.
Yeah.
Because she had no idea why I was stressed and cranky all the time. And I was like, I'm not telling you.
Everything's
stressed
fine.
And cranky.
Yeah, everything's fine.
Everything's good. So why are you cranky? I just had a bad day.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about
Not
it?
sleeping well.
Yeah. Oh, no. Like, up at, God, I remember in January, I was so stressed. It was like a Sunday. I think, no, it was Sunday. I woke up at 10 and I didn't go back to sleep until Monday night at 11.
Whoa.
I couldn't sleep. Like I could not sleep. I was like freaking out.
Yeah, that's wired.
Yeah. I was like,
yeah, I believe it.
You're drinking coffee and that doesn't help because you're like, okay, that'll keep me up. And then, I'll wind down. But it's like, no, the caffeine just stays with you.
Right. Yeah.
Worse.
You have your own cortisol.
I mean, 100%. So, people are listening that are like seasoned entrepreneurs. And we've all gone through obstacles, such as, so what's something that you're either going through or that you've gone through that maybe someone's going through now that they could use to hear, how to push through something?
Yeah. I mean, I would say that the biggest thing is really what we're talking about. I think it's the most common too, is the, not having that systemized pipeline way of getting clients or getting customers, things like that. If you're B2C, then maybe it's more of a like SEO and ads thing, service-based, might look a little bit different. But yeah, not having that was definitely the hardest because for years before that, I felt like, it's that like false sense of success where I felt like everything's fine, like I'm good, like it's, and I've been through like many business cycles, especially when you do things that are month to month. So you have a lot, your business looks pretty different year to year. But that was probably the biggest lesson is like without business, without clients or customers, you don't have a business. So, overlooking that piece can be scary.
Yeah. That's true. And it's funny because, as we sit here and how long have you had your business, you said?
2019.
So we're looking at what, 6 years? And it's, everything takes time.
Yeah.
And I think that, when we have our why, when we know what our why is, I think it helps make it that much more, it gives us more impetus to keep going as opposed to go, oh, I can't do this anymore. It's like, wait, why did I start this?
Right.
And I think that, and I've seen so many people lose their why. And if I could tell somebody, one thing, it would be like, whenever you get to that point that you're like, I'm done, go back to your why. And is your why still relevant? Because your why can change.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people where, they had their why and then it was like, I don't feel like that anymore.
Doesn't touch them anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, when we remember that, it just gives a more, I guess it centers us more in our heart to kind of keep going. Because I feel like I run a, a heart-driven business. Like I tell my clients, they're not transactional. This isn't a transaction to me. This is a relationship. And I look at it as a partnership. Like that's why I cap out at a certain amount because I don't want to lose quality.
Yeah.
And I never want it to just be, a transaction. I worked with somebody that everything was very we need 100 clients a month. And it's like, oh my God, no, we don't. No, we don't.
I get a lot of work from those agencies. A lot of clients come to me from those agencies that are just sales driven. And it's just like a, in and out kind of thing for them. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't, for me in good conscience, I can't do that because, service-based businesses come to me and that's their livelihood. I had one guy tell me years ago, I always give Christmas presents out or holiday presents, right? And I go around, locally. And then for my national clients, like I send them stuff, but locally, I go in. And so I was giving my client, their Christmas present. And he said, hang on. I was like, what? And he handed me this like freaking gigantic basket. And I was like, no, what are you doing? And he goes, and this is what changed my why. He said, it's not lost on me what you do. And I said, what do you mean? He said, you help keep our doors open. You help my guys put food on their table. And I was just like I cried, right? And because I didn't look at it that way. I mean, I looked at it that I want to help their business grow, but I never looked at it that, hell, I was responsible for feeding people, right? So I got in my car and I was like both terrified and honored. I was like, oh shit, this puts like so much more, pressure on. But then I started thinking about it and it was like, okay, that completely shifted how I viewed things. Like my original why stayed the same, but now I had another why. That when I do this, so I have one client now who he's pest control. He started out with one tech. He's getting ready to hire his fifth.
Nice.
So to me, that's just like, that's why I do this.
Yep.
And it was just a beautiful, thing. And that's what I mean. Like your why can change. And sometimes your why can change to where it's like, I don't want to do this anymore, and that's okay. Yeah. Like, people, I think people need to give themselves grace when it comes to this because it's not for the weak of heart.
Oh, yeah, it's rough.
Right. It's rough.
Yeah.
I always say if you ever want to really get to know yourself, become an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Nice little mirror.
But it's so rewarding at the same time, right? I mean, it's like,
yeah. And I totally relate to what you're saying, like a huge reason that why I keep going and all of that is because, whenever I was like, what kind of business do I want or whatever, I think I forgot how awesome it is and how impactful it is for when a business grows. Because growing up, that was our livelihood of, my dad's business working and, the impact of that is huge. It's a really important, like big deal. And so it's so like fun and fulfilling to be able to get on client calls and be like, this is how much you grew year over year. And like, this is how things are looking. And it's awesome to see, businesses grow and then hire more people and provide more jobs and their family lives are being greatly impacted. And, their businesses also do amazing things for people too. So they're able to help more and more people. So it's just this whole ripple effect that comes down to these skills that basically just get, what they're offering to the world in front of the right people who need them and just connecting these people together through these different tools and channels and ways of doing things. And just super fulfilling. It's not just some hobby or thing that's like fun or cool or something. It's actually impacting people's lives in a really, really important way. And, potentially changing their generations too, having a successful business and growing things and having kids witness all of these things. It was impactful to me. It changed my direction in life. And, it has a really big impact in that way.
Yeah, I love that. It's so true. And, gosh, when I when I first started it, that was just never a thought, and then after, like I said, after hearing that, it was just like, well, that put things in a different, perspective. And that's, so whatever, client I work with, that's, the place that I come from is, what's your goal? Like the first question I ask all of my clients is what, if they've been in business 30 years, I'm not going to ask them that, but if they're, kind of new, we really don't work with startups anymore. Just because I can't work with people that don't have money. It sounds terrible, but I can't. I was doing charity for years, and it's like I'm past that. Like I'm past the startup piece, right? So now it's but it's still, when they're ready, when they've done the startup and they're ready to move to that next level, it's still, what's your why? Like, why did you start this? Where do you want to be in 5, 10, 15 years? Do you still want to own that business? Do you want to do something else? And really get them thinking about, why did I start this? I have one client that has been with me for, I think like 3 years. And, we built her business up amazingly. She's an executive coach. And now she wants to start working less. Which is amazing. It's like, holy crap, we were able to do that, right? So she pared down, a little this year, but she's paring down a whole lot next year, which is fine, because I was expecting it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, you can take 4 freaking months off a year? Holy shit, that's amazing. Good for you, right? I'm glad that you're there.
Yeah.
And, and if it was a transactional thing, it would be like, oh my God, how much money? And to me, it's like, no, our work has helped you be able to take 4 or 5 months off. So, I think it's amazing. So how do people find you?
My website is 311advertising.com. The 3 is the number, and then 11 is spelled out, advertising.com. There you can find my LinkedIn too. So I'm fairly active on LinkedIn, and everything that you need about us, about me, our services, and also if you want to book a call with us, you can do that through the website as well.
Cool. Well, thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with me and my audience. And my dogs are getting loud, so
I
can hear them. Interference every once in a while.
Right.
So the last question that I ask all my guests is, what lights your fire?
It's 100% like what we were talking about, is growing those businesses, seeing them grow, seeing how things change. I think in the beginning, when I first started, it was more it's selfish about like myself and being able to like work for myself and, not have to work for other people and, make a certain amount of money and things like that. But it very quickly molded to, once I started seeing this impact that I was creating and that was having on these other businesses and people, it started to, become changing to that, because you're able to see like how fulfilling it is and how fun it is and amazing it is to be a part of that and be a part of those teams. And so it just, of course, naturally that fire just gets bigger and bigger.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. No, I think you're awesome. So hang on one second. I'm going to kill that bug and then say goodbye to the audience. I'll be right back. Yeah. It's one of those days. Right. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out an hour plus. I hope that you think Christina is awesome as I do. And if you need help with, Meta ads, Google ads, anything like that, go to her website. Also find her on LinkedIn, all the places. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I know I say this every week, but I truly do, because you give me this platform to be able to do this and get messages out to whoever needs to hear it. So thank you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, download, review. If you've, gleaned anything from this, let us know in the comments, because, it's always kind of cool to hear what you take away from this. So appreciate you all. And until next time, go out and find what lights your fire. See ya.